Hey guys, welcome back to Billionaire Brain Mindset, and thank you for tuning into our second episode. Today, I'm just coming in with a lot of mental clarity. I don't want to say mental clarity actually, I'm more inspired today. I started doing a video yesterday and I felt so down and out, and then I woke up today so happy and ready to start the day and to conquer the world. So, what better way than to start a video knowing that we kind of just went through all of the motions? What better way to be transparent with Billionaire Brain than that? So, yesterday I woke up feeling like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like I'm not going anywhere. No matter how much I pray, I feel like I'm still in the same space over and over again. And it was very frustrating for me, right? So all I wanted to do was cry. And quite frankly, I didn't know why I wanted to cry in the first place. So it was just like, all right, girl, get your life, please. So today I woke up, we listened to the service today, and I just woke up feeling like so inspired and ready to face the world. And so here we are. And I am so grateful to be here and to be able to just talk, because this is the transparency journey. And I know I'm not the only one who has these problems, especially on the journey of becoming a billionaire or living your rich life, fulfilling your rich life. And so today I wanted to talk about mindset. And that's what I talked about. That's what I wanted to talk about in the last video. But it was hard because my mind wasn't there, right? Like, how can you talk about something that you actively or in that moment not pursuing, right? Like, it's giving hypocrite. So today we are here with a different mindset, and it just goes to show how much things change. And so I just have a few talking points that I wanted to talk about amongst my own experiences, because I think that your mindset is the framework of becoming a billionaire or living a rich life, because ultimately your mind is what is going to set the tone for the decisions that you make. Am I right? So, with that being said, I just wanted to start by saying that the theme of this episode is using your mind when your spirit feels heavy. And so I'm going to go back to a story that a conversation that I had that kind of just paved the way for me. And it basically started off with, like, I was having a conversation with my boyfriend, and we were talking about mental health. And I was just like, his response to me was, just pray and it's all mental. At that point, I was a little tight because I'm an advocate for mental health, right? Like, I understand that people go through things and everybody's different. They cope with things differently. And so to hear it's all a mindset thing, when I feel like for me, it was more so scientific, as in like a chemical imbalance, it was just frustrating. But then I had a therapy session, fast forward to maybe like a year later after that conversation. And I was talking to my therapist one time, and she was like, yeah, it's all mental. At that point, I was just like, why am I paying you? Like, sis, what are we doing? So, um, yeah. After that, I was just like, okay, well then. So it has to be a mindset thing. And so I kind of started being more intentional about the things that I thought about and the actions that I made, because naturally I'm a pessimistic person. So being positive is very hard, or has been a hard journey, because it's easy to see the bad in things. And so I was just like, I need a mindset shift. And so kind of gradually things kind of started to change for me mentally. I know one example for me that was very, very strong was my relationship with the gym. So I used to go to the gym when I was in college, and I was disciplined. I was going every day. I don't know what happened. And so I recently started back up a year and a half ago. And the thing is, when I went into it this time, because my problem is that I don't want it to be a chore. Like, I'm not going to the gym when the gym feels like homework, right? Like, the gym is supposed to be your safe space. So if I'm going there and I feel forced, I'm going to quit. And so being at the gym this time around, I started it because I was upset. So there goes one. There was my mindset at that point, right? Like, I'm mad and I want to get something off my chest. I don't know how. You just want to cry, but you don't, like, realistically, like, come on. You're just going to cry and then feel bad, and then your eyes are going to feel all heavy. So it's just pointless. So I went to the gym one day when I was upset. I did some cardio and I was like, you know what? I'm here. My mind just went to, like, I'm here. That's all that matters. And so after that, I think at that point, I was just like, I want to change how I look anyway. Like, I want to start working out. So why not do it? But I was doing it more intentional and the way I thought about it. So instead of looking at it as a chore, what I started doing was transitioning slowly into, I just showed up, right? Like, I don't have to be in this gym for 2 hours. I don't have to be in this gym for even 1 hour, right? As long as I showed up when I didn't feel like showing up, that's when it mattered. And that's when I knew that my mindset was changing a little bit more, because for me, I was in my 1% better every day. That was the beginning of the 1% better every day era. And not only did it mentally make me feel better, but physically as well. And so I started off going in with, like, doing the bare minimum. I was like, you know what? I showed up. That was the hard part. Now we're going to just do a quick workout and leave. And I allowed myself to feel okay with that, because in my head, I told myself that that was fine. And ultimately, it was fine. And so gradually, you start seeing progress, you start liking the way you feel, and you're just like, okay, it becomes a habit and a routine. And that's why your mindset is so important on your rich journey, because the decisions you make, like I said, ultimately become your outcome. So if you change the way you think about something, then your outcome might be way different, right? Like, if we are living delusionally right now, like, I'm a millionaire, I have a big house, I have I don't know, a pool in the back, you're speaking it into existence, essentially, right? Like, you're not being negative. And the first step to being a billionaire is believing that you are, right? Like, what better way? Because you can't live a life that you don't believe in. And this might be controversial a little bit, but it's walking out on faith, right? You can't be fearful and faithful at the same time. And so, why not think and create that foundation of your success or your rich life? So, that is where I kind of started to shift the way I thought about things. Granted, still a human being, still have my moments where I'm like, this ain't it. I'm not here for it. However, you know, we're still working progress and we are getting there. Yesterday, I went through my bank statements and my account. And, I always walk around with this I'm broke mentality. And that's a whole different thing, because saying that you're broke means that you are declaring that you're broke. And that's what we don't do. So I'm learning to change my words from I am to I feel, because I feel is not a fact. I was going through my bank account statements yesterday, and I was like, dang, I started off with this little bit, and here we are now. So, like, you have to be mindful of the decisions that you're making, because who you were a year ago can change drastically. Who you were a day ago, a week ago, can change drastically. Um, and so that's why I feel like your mindset is very important. Also, I suggest reading The Power of Positive Thinking. That book is amazing. If you are a spiritual person, it does have a lot of quotes, quoting the Bible, which for me was very helpful, because I'm working on my relationship with God. And so that was just like an eye opener for me. Um, but that book it helped you to change how you thought, like from being negative to positive. And I think that that is essential when you're on your journey and creating the life that you want to live, because ultimately, like, for real, you can't be negative and want to be rich. Like, that don't make sense. Do you think these people living their rich life gave up on themselves or talked down on, they probably wouldn't be where they are. They probably did speak bad on themselves at some point, but then was like, you know what, let me put my big girl, big boy pants on, and let me rock this out, because I ain't gonna get nowhere talking about myself like this. So mindset is everything. um and it's your mind. And I'm just, this is a perfect reference because I'm a gym girly. So your mind is a muscle and you have to exercise it. So, like, sometimes it feels heavier than other days. Um, but you have to keep going. You have to exercise your brain to think a positive way. It's going to be hard, and that's the key word right there, hard. Everything that is worth having is hard, right? So you will not always be motivated to think positively. You will not always feel compelled to think positive, but that's when discipline comes in, and that's a whole different topic. Um, but you have to use your discipline to think better and stronger and harder than your emotions, because a lot of us allow our emotions to take over, and ultimately that is our downfall. And so our mind has to be stronger than that. And also, the way that you think can actually get you out of the situations you're in. Like, one of my examples that I use, and I'm a very mindful person, I'm very self aware. And so I was battling, or sometimes I struggle with depression. And there were times where I was like, every weekend, I started noticing every weekend I get depressed. And I'm like, what the F? Why am I depressed? I get to sleep in, right? I don't have to work. Why am I sad? But that point, I didn't know why. Then I started seeing the pattern, and I was like, okay, now that I know what this is, I'm going to have to work harder to not allow this to happen. And so it takes a lot of self talk, a lot of mental, but you have to tell yourself, I am not letting myself slip into this. So you do what you can to get out of that, whether it's go to the gym, whether it's to read a book, whether it's to just go outside and go for a walk. Anything that makes you feel distracted from that feeling of sitting in your slump. I think that it's necessary. It's very necessary. I read this quote one time where it says, you can't be, your mind doesn't allow you to be grateful and upset at the same time. And I actually tried it one time, and it's impossible. So whenever you feel upset about something, sad, mad, think about something you're grateful for, and see if that changes the way that you think. Um, and then my second talking point is the fact that sometimes we might feel discouraged, but it doesn't mean that we're failing. And that's how I felt yesterday when I started my video. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, life is standing still. I'm stuck. Granted, I'm going to be 28, so I'm still pretty young. But you can't help but think about the life that you want versus where you're at now. And then again, now we're going to apply our mindset shift here, where it's like, okay, I'm not where I want to be in this moment, but I'm where I wanted to be a year ago, 2 years ago. And so we're people, we're humans, and we're allowed to feel those things. And so I think that, you know, it's okay. Just don't sit in it. Like, your emotions you have to get through them to you have to go through them to get through them. And so that's the key, but don't sit in it. And I've learned that from firsthand experience. Do not sit in it, because it can take over, and sometimes your thoughts can paralyze you. Um, One of these quotes that I read, I actually like. It says, when everything feels dark, your thoughts can be your flashlight. And it's amazing what thinking about something can do for you, right? However, like I said, thoughts can be paralyzing. So it's really important to be mindful of what you're actually thinking about and being able to shift your thoughts when you feel like what you're thinking might be negative. And progress happens in private, right? So a lot of people don't know what you go through. Sometimes we suffer in silence. And so that is building your character and creating who you are. So you can allow yourself to be down, like I said, but don't stick in it because it is part of your process. And that's exactly where you should and need to be in that moment. And like I said, life is hard, everything is hard. So even when you feel like you're stuck in the slump, don't let that affect who you are and where you are in your process because it's part of life and it happens to all of us. So I did say a lot. I have a lot of notes here, and this is just an amazing topic for me. But I just wanted to get that out there because today I do feel inspired, and I do feel like, just yesterday I'm going through a rut, and today I feel like I can conquer the world, and I feel like that's a normal feeling for everybody. And so this is my message to you. Like, if you feel like you're stuck in anything, sit down. It's okay to sit down and take a deep breath. You are where you're supposed to be at this moment. Doesn't mean you're going to stay there. And that is my message to you. Um, so, yeah, in the comments, write what you're grateful for. What is something that you're grateful for? Or what is something that you feel like you're struggling with? And let's start this journey together. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I said a lot, but this one is coming from the heart. Like, this feels special and it feels personal. It's a transparent journey, and we're going to do it together. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.